What's going on, family? We are back with a very special request from our good friend Pixie today. Shout out to her. Shout out to you, friend. Shout out to you. She's got us checking out In My Mind. Who is this by again? It doesn't say in the video, so I'll undo it again. Let's see, from Amanda Palmer. 15 years ago. It's always random and always feels a little weird when I do a review for something that's older than, I don't even know, 2 years, 1 year. Because almost everything I do is like 2 days old, 3 days old, 6 weeks old, from some band you probably have never heard of, you know what I mean? But here we are again, coming to an artist that I don't personally know. What was her name again? I already forgot it. Something Palmer. Amanda Palmer? Amanda Palmer. Look at that. I actually did remember it. All right, 15 years ago. In My Mind music video. Maul said, you got to review it, Johnny. You got to review it, so let's do it.
In a future 5 years from now, I'm 120 pounds, and I never get hung over because I will be the picture of...
Okay, this is definitely the same girl that we started out the stream with, right? She just be jumping right into these songs like this. I was not prepared for the ukulele either. So it set my mind in an instant direction as soon as I heard a ukulele. There's only been a few artists that I listen to that actually will play a ukulele, but yeah, we're not gonna bring them up. We don't do that around here. We don't be talking about other bands. The only thing that we ever say is that everything gives us what is it, band? What band is it again? Oh my god, Deftones. That's right. She's totally giving off Deftones vibes, right? Every comment section of every video, a song in America.
In my mind, in a future 5 years from now, I'm 120 pounds, and I never get hung over because I will be the picture of discipline, never minding what state I'm in. And I will be someone I admire. And it's funny how I imagined that I would be that person now, but it does not seem to have happened. Maybe I've just forgotten how to see that I'm not exactly the person that I thought I'd be. And in my mind, in the faraway here and now, I've become in control somehow. And I never lose my wallet because I will be the picture of discipline, never fucking up anything. And I'll be a good defensive driver. And it's funny how I imagined that I would be that person now, but it does not seem to have happened. Maybe I've just forgotten how to see that I'll never be the person that I thought I'd be.
I'm not gonna lie, this song's kind of gripping on the heartstrings a little bit today. Even though it's not like sad like that, it's kind of getting me a little emotional listening to it just from the lyrical content of like kind of what I feel like this song like represents and like the message of it is. I don't know if I should start diving into it right this second or if I should wait till the end of it. But I just had to. I'll probably wait a little bit longer to get into my diatribe about this song, but. I just had to point out at least the fact that I like the fact that she said that one day I'll be a defensive driver. Won't we all? Won't we all? And I will say I am the person now that I am a lot more of a defensive driver than I ever used to be. I used to have a little bit of that lead foot. I used to drive like a race car driver, yo, until you get pulled over so many times and then you realize that you don't want to do this no more and you don't want no more tickets and you don't want to pay no more money just for driving fast. So you start to become a little bit more of a defensive driver, and I've also would say that most of my road rage is pretty much completely gone. Some days I will say they get me sometimes. You know, we're all people, and some days it just ain't the day. It ain't the day. But for most part, all of it. I feel like my life is so much more stressful when it comes to driving, where I just don't give a shit what anybody else is doing. You know what I mean? It's because like if you're going to be mad about how other people drive, I promise you'll be mad forever because you're never going to ever feel good about it. So I really appreciated that whole like one day I will be a defensive driver line.
And in my mind, when I'm old, I am beautiful, planting tulips and vegetables, which I will mindfully watch over. Not like me now, I'm so busy with everything that I don't look at anything, but I'm sure I'll look when I'm older. And it's funny how I imagine that I could be that person now, but that's not what I want. If that's what I wanted, then I'd be giving up somehow. How strange to see that I don't want to be the person that I want to be. And in my mind, I imagine so many things that aren't really happening. And when they put me in the ground, I'll start pounding the lid, saying I haven't finished yet. I still have a tattoo to get that says I'm living in the moment. And it's funny how I imagine that I could win this fight, but maybe it isn't all that funny that I've been fighting all my life. But maybe I have to think it's funny if I want to live before I die. And maybe it's funniest of all to think I'll die before I actually see that I am exactly the person that I want to be. To be.
That was a sick video, man. Like where you're seeing like in her mind what she's seeing, like in like what she's envisioning or whatever. It's kind of different. It's kind of difficult. I feel like to even like pick a place to even start with. Like I feel like where this song kind of like how it makes me feel like in the moment, and I feel like how it someone put the lyrics in here too. Cool. I feel like the overall like point of like what I kind of like took away from this. And how I feel like I related to this is like a lot of like when you I think a lot of us we put a lot of expectations on ourselves, and we beat ourselves up for things for whatever reason. There's a million different reasons why we do it to ourselves this way. It could be from trauma, from your upbringing. It could be from some person in your life that made you feel a certain way, and you always think about them, and you always hear that voice in your head. Like I said, there's a million different reasons why we beat ourselves up, or why we are our biggest critics this way. And she made like a lot of references to like in 5 years from now, basically I'll be perfect in like so many different ways. Like I will no longer do this, I will no longer do that. Like these are the things that I will conquer. Excuse me. That I will like conquer in my own life. And get over and get past. Where by the end of the song, she basically has said, like, you know, she accepts herself for like the way that she is, and that all those things that she put on herself were not necessarily things that she even had to fix about herself. You know, I stopped and made the comment earlier about like the defensive driving thing, which I said is like a little bit more like a kind of like a funny thing to say, in there. But I feel like there's so much of like that, even like that, where it's like, I will no longer have road rage. I'll stop caring about those things where like, even if you do have like a little bit of that, it doesn't necessarily make you a terrible person. Or something that necessarily all people need to change about themselves. But I would definitely recommend let that shit go, man. You know, take you to an early grave, all that hate in your heart for other drivers. And I promise you, they'll always make you angry. I think the biggest thing for me is unnecessary traffic. Unnecessary traffic is probably what gets on my nerves probably the most. So, but anyway, that's a whole different conversation. Kind of back to the original point that I was making or was thinking about was with the holding too much against yourself. You know, where I feel like I do this almost daily. I kind of go through like this repetition of like this revolving circle of like, beat myself up to the point where I like can't even do anything. Then I kind of come out of it, and then I get to a point where I'm really motivated, and then we start slowly trickling our way back down. You know what I mean? And I always tell myself that like when I get into like this positive mentality, I'm like, I'm gonna stop doing this and I'm gonna start doing X. You know? And it's like I can't even. You're gonna constantly let yourself down if you hold yourself to such high expectations. I feel like this is something I've thought about and talked about a lot, where not everybody is holding you to the expectations I think that a lot of us put to ourselves in our own minds. But it doesn't take away like any of like the stress or like the pressure that we put on ourselves, because like we're doing it to ourselves. It's like a form of like masochism. You know what I mean? Like you're like purposely hurting yourself. It's like another way to kind of self-harm, where I feel like a lot of us do this like to ourselves, like just mentally, because like, you know, you can't, if you cut yourself, people can see that, but nobody can see how much you can beat yourself up on the inside. You don't get bruises for doing that. You know what I mean? And I feel like that's probably like where I could probably relate to it to most of my life, is like I will find a way to make myself feel like shit on the inside all day long. And I'm like, I will take little things and make them bigger things just to make myself hurt more. And like I said, it's really easy to push the parts of the pieces of the puzzle to make them look like the picture that you want them to look, even if that's not it. You know, you could take some of them and make it look like this, even though it's not even that at all. It's really easy to do that when you're already kind of feeling some sort of way. But I feel like the overall message of this song is really like it leaves on a positive note there towards the end, is like to talk about like fully acceptance of yourself, that, you know, you don't have to reach X point or reach X goal in your life in order to all of a sudden to be okay, or for you to have made it, or for you to all of a sudden be a good person or whatever. There's always this invisible line. I talked about this a few times on the channel, especially in the last couple of weeks, about like, you know, reaching certain milestones with the channel and stuff like that. Like, you know, when you hit X milestone, you're just going to have the next one. You know what I mean? So it's like, it don't matter. It's never going to be enough. Why do you think that billionaires still compete with one another? You know what I mean? Because it's never enough. There's never a point where all of a sudden they're just good. Like I said, we talk about this all the time, where like there's always, if you have the invisible line, if I just reach X and everything will be okay, as soon as you reach X, there'll be another line for you to cross one day. And you're just, that's what's the next thing that's going to kill you is you gonna, and versus just being happy with what you have in the moment. And I feel like this song is supposed to be kind of like a reminder, a reminder of that. So not beat yourself up. That it's that who you are is always going to be okay. And the fact that you're trying and the fact that you're even just conscious of it. I feel like that's one of those things too, where so many people are like, just don't even give a fuck about how bad off they are or whatever. I feel like if you just are trying a little bit, that's more than most people are doing, you know? And I feel like the people who are trying the most are the people who are probably the hardest on themselves. And I feel like that's one of the things that I feel like when it comes to like this channel, I've been reminded of a lot lately, is that the people who are supposed to find you, you know? And sometimes people will come into your life and they'll look a certain way and they'll talk a certain way and you'll think that they're good for you and you think that they're on board and of they, you know, but the people that are supposed to find you will always find you. And I feel like once you find those people, it's worth holding on to, you know, it's worth fighting for. So, and we got to be easy on ourselves. And I feel like sometimes we got to be reminded of that, where we're always going to be our biggest critics. But it's really hard to be your biggest fan sometimes, you know, but that's a whole different side of the spectrum when sometimes people are too much of their own fans. You know what I mean? Oh my God. Okay. I think that's all I got for this one, Pixie. You almost broke me today. You almost got some Foxtrots out of me, but I was able to hold it together today. But I definitely appreciate the song review request from you today, and for throwing this one in there. And I think that's really all I got, friends. Be kind to a stranger. Tell somebody that you love them. And if you haven't joined the Foxtrot family, there's always room for you.